We work hard at our jobs and we should get paid accordingly, but asking your boss for a raise, that can be pretty scary. So how do you approach your boss? How much should you ask for? What if they say no right to your face? Well, Kim Crowder with Kim Crowder Consulting is here with us to answer all of your questions. She is our expert for today, and this is how you get a question to our expert. You text us that question, 336-379-5775. Remember, this is text only, so please don't call, but we do want to make sure we get your questions answered. All right, Kim, first and foremost, how do we even prepare, right, to pitch that whole I want to raise?
Yeah, so, and I always like to clarify because, of course, my organization, Kim Crowder Consulting, is a diversity, equity, and inclusion organization. So when I'm talking about this, I'm always talking about this from the perspective of those who have been historically ignored, typically women, women of color, LGBTQIA+. And so as you are planning and thinking about how to lay all of this out, really make sure that you have done your own homework around the value that you bring to the organization, particularly for that year. Put that in writing so that you can see it, and then start to rework that and reframe it into an ask.
Okay, so you make a bullet points of the things that you've done for that year, and then you reframe it into an ask. So can you give me an example of that? Because I know a lot of times we all think to ourselves, okay, I think I could do that, but I'm not really sure how that works.
Sure. Here's a couple ways you can do that. What have you impacted sales by a percentage? You know, the work that you did. Did you impact another department based on the work that you did? Did you onboard somebody more quickly because you came up with a guide to help onboarding? What are some things that you've done where you can draw that direct line to impact and show how you in some way have brought value above and beyond that job description? Often I say go back to your job description and also go back to the goals that you set last year, because we can forget, right? Go back to those and then put those up against what you've accomplished for the year.
All right, and so I know you did tell everyone that this is the perspective that you're coming from. What do you think organizations need to be doing to increase the pay for women with historically ignored backgrounds?
Yeah, one of the things that organizations can do immediately is get a pay equity assessment. What that does is it takes a look across the board to see not only how you are paying women, but also how you are paying women from different backgrounds, women with different identities, and to look to find out if you are paying them up against men. We know that men are making somewhere in 10 to 20% more than women in the workplace at baseline. And we're not even talking about based on the intersectional identities, race, and that sort of thing. And so organizations can start there. They can also take a look at who are you promoting? What is the rate of promotions within the organization around women and those have been historically ignored? And then also take a look at any the projects that the folks are being put on. Are they the kind of projects that are elevating people in the organization so that their voice can be heard, so that they can show their expertise? Or is it the same people over and over that you're getting?
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So that is what organizations can do. We're back to what we can do as workers. Let's talk about how important it is to practice the proposal meeting and the importance of getting some feedback on what you think you're going to say to your boss before you actually say it to your boss.
Yeah, talk to people that you know, people that you trust, even someone, if you have someone who's a friend who maybe is a leader within their organization or a manager who often decides on pay. Give them the pitch, see how they respond to it. Also, if you have someone in HR, start thinking about who you know so that you're practicing it over and over. What that does, it reduces the anxiety the day of, and it also perfects your pitch. You don't want to feel like you're defending yourself. You're not even convincing anyone. You're just laying out the fact, right? The fact of the matter is that you are valuable. And so you are sharing those facts and saying, based on that, here's what I know. You can also take a look at what the market is bearing in that area. So take a look at externally, what are folks making that are doing the same role that you are doing, and then bring that forward as well.
Do you have some resources for folks to do that? Because I think a lot of times people go, well, I don't know what someone in the next company is making, or even somebody in my own company is making.
It is, for one thing, searching online, you'd be surprised about how much information is out there online around this. There are quite a few studies about pay for particular areas. And then also a trick that you can do is you can take a look at, as you are, laying out this sort of thing, what are organizations paying? You can kind of find out through universities. Look at if universities have done any academic work around that. A local university has done any academic work around that in those business schools. But also just do your homework. Google, talk to people, do all of the things that you feel like you need to do in order to be prepared and ready and have the information necessary. I also want to bring this up. Look, men and women ask for raises at the same rate, the exact same rate. Women get it at 15%, men get it at 20%. Both of those numbers are pretty low, right? And so in that, hopefully we'll talk about this in a second, but here's what you can do if you don't get what you're asking for.
Yeah, that is a big thing when you don't get what you're asking for. All right, we are going to take a very quick break. We're going to be back and we're going to talk about what do you do if you don't get what you're asking for, and also how you can keep a record of all the good things that you're going to do this year so that you can maybe ask for a raise next year or whenever you feel comfortable doing that. We're going to be right back.